Star Wars 7x7, episode 2180. Shadowfall, the second novel in the Alphabet Squadron trilogy, comes out tomorrow, June 23rd, and today I've got a non-spoiler review for you. Punch it! Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod, and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy, and thank you so much for joining me for it. So first off, thank you very much to Del Rey for sending me a review copy ahead of time for Shadowfall, which I've had the distinct pleasure and joy of going through leading up to this review, and we will talk more in depth about Shadowfall this week as the book becomes officially available to one and all. I have to say that, you know, sometimes when we talk about things and we talk about what people like and what people don't like, and one of the things that I have been known to say is that sometimes that says more about the person who's saying it than anything else. So I guess you have to take it with a grain of salt that you're hearing it from me. I feel like this is actually the best Star Wars novel I've ever read since the inception of the new canon. And for me, I think you've probably heard, if you've listened to the podcast for any length of time, you've probably heard me go on and on about Bloodline, the novel by Claudia Gray that takes place about 6 years before the events of The Force Awakens and chronicles Leia's activities during that time. It's kind of like comparing apples and oranges, though, to be honest, because Bloodline is very much, you know, about political machinations, and yes, there is adventure to be had in it, but it is more of a complete Star Wars story, if you will. It is actually probably the nearest thing to a Star Wars movie taking place in a book than any other novel, whereas Shadowfall is definitely more of a military science fiction novel set in the Star Wars universe. And that being said, man, I would not mind if they decided to adapt this for a live action series. Just the whole trilogy, just do it. I enjoyed Alphabet Squadron, the original novel in the trilogy, and I actually like this one more. It feels like it is, comparatively, The Empire Strikes Back to Alphabet Squadron's A New Hope. I mean, that's what it was for me. The novel, and again, this is non-spoiler, so the stuff that is out there right now talks about how the fine folks within Alphabet Squadron, and particularly Erica Quell, who is the leader of Alphabet Squadron, the former Imperial TIE fighter pilot and defector, is working with Karen Aden from the New Republic Intelligence Group, and they are trying to find Shadow Wing. They are attached to a group that is being led by General Harrison Dula, yes, that Harrison Dula, and they are off on other missions, but as they are off on other missions, Erica and Aden are trying to figure out how they can find Shadow Wing again, and ultimately they decide to set a trap for Shadow Wing. And the publisher's copy talks about, ooh, but Shadow Wing has evolved, and into the vacuum of leadership when Colonel Nares was killed in the original novel, steps Major Soren Keyes, who was Erica Quell's former mentor before they parted ways, and he's now the leader of Shadow Wing, and he has his own motivations, and he has things that he needs to do that he feels would be right by Shadow Wing, or right by the Empire, or right by whatever, you know, particular North Star that's guiding him, which, you know, I will leave to future discussions. But suffice it to say, when the confrontation comes, and it does, you know it does, yeah, it does not shake out the way that you or any of the parties involved anticipated. And that makes for some very compelling storytelling, because actually, and in fairness to Shadowfall, it goes beyond military science fiction. It is deep in terms of the characterization, especially of Erica Quell. She gets some incredible stuff here for her story arc. And we do get some development of other characters as well, like Chas and Will and Nath, also from Alphabet Squadron, and Karen Aden, as well as ITO, his friendly interrogator droid that has been reprogrammed for therapeutical purposes, and I mean that in a number of different ways. But the thing that's going to have me reading Shadowfall a second time, and yes, it is going to be a second time, although maybe it'll be on the audio, we'll see, is the surprise ending. And it is not an ending I saw coming, it is not an ending I expected, And I actually have been sitting with it for a little bit. When I finished the novel the first time, I was really kind of, shocked and surprised, as, I might have given you indication of, but it wasn't quite fitting in my brain. And as I slept on it and thought more about it on the following day, it really kind of fell into place for me of like, yeah, I guess that's exactly how things would shake out. So I know I'm being elliptical about it, but I just have to say that I don't want to spoil it for you, and I did not expect this particular twist coming at all, and it leaves you in a place where you really cannot wait to find out what happens with the last novel and how they resolve this entire storyline. But without hinting too much or, getting too close to actual reveals, I will just wrap up by saying it is a fantastic read. It's a breezy read for being a substantial novel. Like, it moves along with a freight train's pace, and the characterizations again are fantastic. The action is fantastic. It's cinematically described, so you can completely picture it. Goes into some very unusual and surprising places, and is a really satisfying read. So there you go, Shadowfall, the non-spoiler review. That is going to do it for the episode today. Thank you so much for joining me for it, as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
Star Wars 7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2020 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.